Hello there, people.
Hi, Chef.
How y'all doing this evening?
So far, so good.
Staying cool.
Right. Oh my goodness. Whew.
I know.
I did
Right?
my 3 miles yesterday, and I had my water, but oh my God.
3 miles?
Yeah, I try to walk 3 miles a day. Try to.
I'll try to watch people walk 3 miles a day, maybe, and maybe I can get some the calorie burn by osmosis or something like that, but probably not. We'll wait about another minute. So what are y'all doing to survive the heat? The heat that has just begun, unfortunately.
Trying to stay in the house as much as possible. Try my best.
Just stay in the air condition for sure.
I have found ice cream.
Uh-oh.
I know, right? I have diabetes, so that's a bad combination there. Ice cream and diabetes, all of that. So, let me get some of this situated right here. All right. So let's jump into this. Unless y'all have unless you have questions or you want to know something in particular by the end of the night. This is probably going to be fairly short, but I want to give us maybe a little bit of review from the previous week. What a lot of the things that you looked at. I want to talk about a knife, of care and use of a chef knife, and then really focus on sharpening the knife, using a hone like you have, and maybe a couple other tools, and look at kind of the dynamics of the proper cut. And I'm going to give you some homework that I'm going to tell you up front before I even show you. We talk about this. I'm going to give you some homework that you're going to think Chef has lost his mind, that you're going to feel awkward. It's going to be the dumbest sounding thing on the planet. But I promise you, if you do this, it will completely change how you use the knife and your fluency with handling a chef knife. Okay, so I have two I want to show you. You're not going to be able to see very well, but I brought these side by side. These are very simple, cheap. I use these for demos. They're Winco knives. That's probably 1 or 2 steps above a Farberware from Walmart. When we talk about knives, you can quote me on this. It's not something that you will see again on a test or an exam. But if anyone asks you, what is the best knife, while most people are asking you, should I get a J.A. Hinkle? Should I get a Wusthof Trident? Should I get Chicago Cutlery? I've seen that at Walmart and I've seen that at Target. Well, what do you think about Farberware? I can get a Farberware chef knife for $7 instead of $1,500 for a professional 8-inch handmade Shun knife. So what's the best knife? Forevermore, your answer should be sharp. That's the best knife. Sharp knife. A sharp knife. Razor sharp. A sharp knife is a safe knife. A sharp knife is an accurate knife, as accurate as you are controlling the knife. A sharp knife is a fast, effective, efficient tool. Sharp knife. Now, I said a sharp knife is a safe knife, right? I'm going to put a finger up here really close in the camera, and I promise you, I'm not flipping you the bird. I'm not using my disgruntled highway communication finger, but I have a scar that maybe we can get. Let it kind of. It's probably too close to. Can you see that little scar? Can you see the scar right here? Can you kind of make that out, sort of barely? So I owned a restaurant in southern Utah, and St. George, Utah is comfortably right in the middle of Las Vegas to Salt Lake City, to the north rim of the Grand Canyon, to Moab, to kind of the playground of the Mountain West. St. George is in the desert, right in the center of all of that action. So good place to have a restaurant. A busy Friday night, very busy. I'm yelling at my staff. I'm yelling at the kitchen, not paying attention to what I'm doing. And I'm cutting away some green bell pepper. I feel a little sting, and I look down, and my green bell pepper's not green anymore. And so I had to throw all of that out. We'll talk more maybe about food safety, and obviously if you get blood on stuff, you don't want to feed that to people and blah, blah, blah. But I have a little bone spur. My knife hit the bone of my finger just at the back end of my fingernail on the side. And put a little carve in it. If you've ever tried to, when you were younger, play with daddy's pocket knife and whittle on a stick, I did a little whittle right on the end of my finger. Here's why I bring this up. Here's the beauty of what happened. I learned from a very early age, from the very beginning of my career, from a very good chef. No matter what brand of knife you use, your knife should be razor sharp, because the knife will do the work. You don't have to push and force. How many of you have had an experience kind of like this? You think your knife is really sharp, and then you cut a tomato. You're going to grill some hamburgers, and you want some tomato. You're going to make some BLT, and you go to cut that tomato. Simple, cut the tomato, and your sharp chef knife won't even break through the skin. Or you want to do some stir fry, or you're going to do some fajitas, and you're going to cut up some bell pepper. Exactly what I was doing. You're going to cut up some bell pepper. Even a dull knife is going to make it pretty easily through the meaty backside of the bell pepper, but you have that waxy skin, right? If your knife's not going to easily make it through that skin, what do we tend to do? Kind of saw a little bit, or force the cut really, really hard. If I did not have a really sharp knife that night, by hand, I would have cut the end of my finger off right there. I would have removed about an inch and some change of my finger by hand. Something you see kind of in a movie. What saved my finger was a razor sharp knife. Then it's just the knife doing the work. You can cut all day long and not be worn out, not feel like Sandra, who has just walked and hiked 3 miles and you're all wore out. You know what I'm saying? Sharp. So the main thing I want to hit tonight is sharp and keeping your knife sharp. A few little general housekeeping rules. Never, ever, 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 ever put this in the dishwasher. 2 things. The detergent, the chemicals that are used to make the detergents for our at-home dishwashers, don't ever put this in the dishwasher commercially at the restaurant, at Cami, at the culinary school. Always, 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 always wash your knives by hand. You wash your knife by hand. You keep your knives in your eye shot. You don't loan your knives to your classmate. As friendly as we want to be with each other, as helpful as we want to be with each other, we're learning in culinary school, we're training in culinary school, we are preparing for the professional world, professional kitchen, the commercial kitchen. And don't ever come up and ask me for my knives. That's one of the kind of cardinal golden rules that we don't ever want to break. You have your knives, you sharpen them your way, you care for them your way, and no one will ever care for your knives the way you care for your knives, right? So wash by hand, and it's yours, not anybody else's. Now, if you're going to loan your stuff out to a classmate that's in a bind, that's between you and them. And I guess I shouldn't really discourage that too much, because we all end up in a bind from time to time. But know that in a professional kitchen, that is not okay. Don't touch my mies. When I've cut up all of my onions and my celery and minced my garlic, and I've got my carrots and my bell pepper and my herbs and all of my station ready for me to do my work, don't reach over because you didn't do your work. Don't touch my mies. Don't touch my knives. And later on in the semester, you'll see a video from Chef Cynthia East. She's the executive chef down in Pine Bluff at the Saracen Casino. She's going to talk a little bit about sexual harassment in the kitchen. And so I add to the don't touch my mies, don't touch my knives, and don't touch me. And if that's the case, we all get along just fine. Okay. There's a proper way. Let's get to sharpening. Okay. Look, here's a funky kind of thing that you can find something similar to this at a Walmart. I have a couple at the culinary school that I use for show and tell that I purchased from the Walmart in Morrilton. I live in Morrilton. So if I can get it in the store in Morrilton, I'm sure you can get it wherever you are. I know they carry little sharpeners like this at Target. They certainly carry sharpeners like this at Krebs Brothers, at Aimco, at any one of the restaurant and kitchen supply stores. So you can find these pretty easy. This is a cheater sharpener. That's my own term. This is for cheating. It doesn't really get your knife very sharp. And listen, this is a kind of tool that when your mama pulls you off to the side and says, look, you're in culinary school, you can tell me how to keep my knives sharp. This is the kind of thing you give your mama for Christmas, or you give your mama for Mother's Day, because it's a very easy sharpening method for the domestic cook. This isn't something that we ought to use professionally. The way it works, though, you can see this. You can see the V shape right up here, and inside that V shape, some of these are going to be ceramic, some of these are going to be metal, just like your hone. And I didn't ask y'all to bring your knives and have your knives out for tonight, and that's fine. When you get into your knife wrap, if you haven't already, examine that long stick. This is a hone, and you'll feel grooves that run this way. Okay, from the hilt to the tip, grooves run along the hone in this way. Those grooves are important for the sharpening. Okay, you know that it's time to replace this when those grooves start wearing down. Those grooves for you are going to start wearing down after 5 or 6 years. So this is going to last a long, long time. Even if you give your knife 8 or 10 swipes 2 or 3 times a day, this is going to take a few years to wear down and need to be replaced. Okay, this particular sharpener has metal, and that metal is grooved in this V. The benefit of this, though, is that V is perfectly matched. So the angle of one side and the angle of the other side are exactly the same. We need to be able to achieve that when we're refining an edge. You're not going to be able to see just through that little camera. It's almost like looking a long ways down a sheet of paper. I showed a little bit of this last week, but even this straight edge, as this is called, there's a straight edge and there's a serrated edge. Serrated edge is your steak knife. Serrated edge, if y'all have the student knife kit, the Mercer knife kit, probably came with an offset bread knife. It's the knife that this spine is, it starts like right down here, halfway or right below the handle. Do you remember that? Do y'all have a knife that's kind of like that? San's going to open up her knives, and then she's going to give us some show and tell. It's a bread knife. The purpose of those serrations are to easily go through the bread without pressing, compressing, squeezing, smashing any of the bread. And it's offset to raise the handle away from the knife's edge. With that handle raised, then my knuckles aren't going to hit the table or the cutting board when I'm cutting. I'll show you that in a bit whenever I demonstrate a cut. If I'm going to use this to sharpen this, okay, I'm going to move my camera down so we can watch this cutting board. I think get my fingers out of the way. All right, you're able to see this pretty well. I have an 8-inch chef knife. I have a 6-inch chef knife. And so I'll use this 6-inch. The way you use this, it has a place for you to put your 4 fingers. Your thumb sits out. Your fingers just kind of hold it in place. Okay, this is a finger guard. There are 2 ways to use this. And so the most secure is to secure this sharpener right on a solid surface like a cutting board. And from the very back or heel of the blade, from the heel to the tip, anytime you're sharpening, your movements are always fluid motion from the heel to the tip. And so we do a few passes. Be mindful of your thumb. Don't have your thumb way up here, because if you slip off, you just injured yourself and sliced your thumb pretty good, and that's some bad mojo. But holding this secure from the heel to the tip, and a few passes, and you kind of brought this edge back, okay? Another way of doing this is holding the knife pretty good. I do not like this. If you're going to use something like this tool, don't do it this way. But it's kind of in reverse. And so you keep the knife from moving and hold it sturdy and stable, and use this device from the heel to the tip. I don't like that method at all. I don't like this at all, but I thought you should know about it. What we like to use, what I want you to get very familiar with, is using this hone. I'm going to raise this just a tad. All right. You see all my garbage behind me. Yeah. Hamburgers and French fries tonight. I have a wok full of oil for French fries. I know, right? Y'all want to come over to my house. Now, I have a 10-inch hone at the very least, and you should have this in your kit if you bought the Mercer kit from the school. Probably if you bought a Mercer student kit from, yes, San, what you're holding up is the hone, okay? This is not for spousal correction. This is not for child correction, okay? Sorry, it's not. This is for you to sharpen. This is also not for spousal correction or anything like that, okay? This is just for the onions and the bell peppers and the carrots and the celery. Y'all are gonna cut a lot of onions and garlic, carrots, a little bit of celery. You're gonna cut a lot of potatoes. You're gonna be sick of potatoes and onions by the end of the summer. Maybe, if you do what I tell you to do. Okay. I'm going to show you 3 different ways to use this. Okay. The first, I call it old school. It's the way I was taught. This is a method that goes back hundreds of years. And so it's old school. Okay. Before I show you, the hilt right at the top of the handle, where the hone, the sharpening stick, meets the handle, you have this disc looking piece. That's for safety. This is called the hilt. Okay. The inside of your finger and the inside of your thumb tip rest on either side of the fat side of the hilt. Make sense? You follow me? Give me a yes or a thumbs up or good. All right. Okay. As long as you keep your fingers, you keep your thumb on this side of the hilt, you're safe. If ever you do this, that's going to be bad mojo right there. Okay. I've seen people do this. And if you learn to sharpen your knife or hone your knife old school, and you keep your finger on the side or any way forward of the hilt, when you pull and draw that knife towards you, whammo right into your thumb. Okay. You don't want to do that. So make sure that your thumb and index finger, the rest of your fingers will follow, obviously, but make sure that your thumb and index finger are on the back side of this hilt. Okay. I think for your student kits, if you bought them from the bookstore, the style has kind of a rubberized handle, and that rubberized handle kind of flares all the way up to the sides of the hilt. Yes. So in that groove, in that indentation, that's where you want to wrap your finger inside, and you want your thumb tip just underneath that as well. You want to pull it back just a little bit into that indentation. Stan, if I can pick on you because you have it out already, do that and then hold it up to the camera. So yes, everybody see that? If you don't, I'll have the recording up later tonight or tomorrow, and you can, yeah, that's really good. If you've never done this before, the feel in your hand is going to be very awkward until you start getting accustomed to this. Okay. Method number 1. You want your knife to be approximately 20 degrees. Now, I'm sure you've seen a lot of chefs do this, and you've never seen anybody get out their math protractor and make sure that all the angles are just right, exactly perfect. You have a cheat, and here's your cheat. These kinds of hones, even the one that San is holding up when she holds it up, even that, you have the fat side of the hilt on either side, and you have a narrow side of the hilt. You see that? Fat side here, narrow here. That narrow is 20 degrees. So if I hold the back side or the spine of my knife right on my hilt, the skinny side on the narrow side, and then I angle down the knife blade till I touch the hone, that's 20 degrees. So this is a little cheat to help you see and get used to that angle. We want that angle, the same on both sides, okay? When I get a little comfortable with that angle, honing method number 1, again, always from the heel to the tip in one fluid motion. Cover the whole space from the tip of the hone almost to the hilt, almost to the back, to the handle. Heel to tip. Gentle, you're not grinding, okay? Gentle, a little bit of pressure, but very gentle. Heel to tip. And you kind of, so this hand is fairly firm. My arm is holding the hilt very firm and stable. I don't want this flopping around everywhere, okay? This arm, my wrist is fairly firm to keep all of this solid, and my movement is more in my shoulder and elbow, okay, as I do this. Heel to tip, kind of at an angle, okay? You can think almost circular, but if you think too circular, then you start breaking your wrist. And what happens is you don't have the same amount of pressure on the forward third of the knife than you do on the back 2/3 of the knife if you start doing this kind of motion. So don't do that, okay? Heel to tip, more at an angle, just pulling your arm back at an angle. Does that make sense? Now here's the complicated part, okay? This is one side. I'm on the top side of the hone, on one side of the knife. When I pass one time, I move my arm forward, I move the knife under the hone, and I change the angle. And it's just a little flick of the wrist. Okay. So on the top, heel to tip, and then underneath, heel to tip. Same angle, equal angles on both sides. If we were in the Army and we were doing push-ups, then, you know, the way we counted push-ups in basic training, and you know, in Army basic training, you get quite a bit of practice doing push-ups. We would actually have to do 2 full push-ups. You hear the drill sergeant counting off, 1, 2, 3, and then we all yell out 1. 1, 2, 3. 1 is up, 2 is down, 1 is up again. So 2 push-ups made 1 count. 2 passes of the knife, we will count as 1 pass, because I want equal passes on either side of the knife, so that V shape ends up being the same angle. I get equal coverage on both sides. Okay. 1 on top, heel to tip, and then 1 on bottom, heel to tip. I'm not even going to demonstrate fast. I've been doing this a long time. I've been doing this longer than maybe 1 or 2 of you have been alive. And it is not about speed. Please, even your cutting right now, don't try to be a Food Network star. Don't try to be a TV chef. Don't come in here doing all this kind of stuff because you like that sound and you want the fast. First, learn to get it right. Learn to get it right, and then we can speed it up. So I've shared with you, I'll get down here so we can see each other a little bit. A long time ago in a previous life, I studied music. My bachelor's degree is in music and percussion performance. I was a professional orchestral percussionist. I played with the Arkansas Symphony. We moved to Utah. I did some other things. I was a professional musician long before I ever considered myself a professional fooditarian. And I had a very, very good percussion instructor who would teach us, you know, you've all heard the adage, practice makes wrong. Practice.
Perfect practice.
Perfect practice makes perfect. Practice makes permanent. What you practice and what you practice over and over and over, those movements will become you. So what Jill just said is exactly right. Perfect practice makes perfect. But regardless of what kind of practice there is, practice makes permanent. So when you're learning a new piece on the piano, on the vibraphone, on saxophone, on a violin, whatever, if you're learning a new piece of music, we were to slow the music down, but play it all the way through. Musically expressive and all of those little details, but play it as slow as we need to play it perfectly all the way through. And it may take months before it's even up to performance speed before I really start preparing the piece for performance. Does that make sense? If you've ever played an instrument, any of you, that may make a little more sense. I bring that up because I want you to do the same thing. Don't be Don't be TV chef. You're not there yet. And a lot of what they do is very, very poor technique, and they're doing it to show off for the camera. I want you to just focus on the method and the technique and doing this right. Heel to tip, and then the other side, underside of the hone, heel to tip, as slow as it needs to be. Gentle pressure, about 8 or 10 passes every single time you're going to cook. Every single time you're going to cut something for your dinner, for your breakfast, for whatever. Okay? Got that? The second method is a chosen method for most. We can call this a little safer method, okay? But while you're learning, I also told you that this narrow side of the hilt, that to the hone is 20 degrees. This is a good way to practice and be sure that you have the right angle. You're doing exactly the same thing that I did just before in reverse. So you're starting at the hilt. You're starting at the part closest to your hand, moving to the tip of the hone. Heel to tip away from you. See, my old school method, you're cutting in to you. A lot of people today get a little squirrely about that, okay? This way, look, I can learn the feel of the proper angle without using tools or any other device. I have it right here. There's 20 degrees. That's perfect. Start resting on the hilt, the heel of your blade, and don't change that angle. Heel to tip. And when you go underneath, same thing. You hit the hilt, the spine of your blade, angle the knife up, heel to tip. This is a little bit awkward for me, and I would give only one caution. When you're at home, you have a lot more safe space. You have a lot more safe space around you. A lot of kitchens, even at the culinary school, when you take food 2, if you take it online, you'll still be at home. Definitely when you take food 3 and food 4, you're going to be in the kitchen, and there's a lot of people, and we cram because money is so tight in our industry. We cram as many people and as much stuff in a tight space as we can. And so if you're honing your knife like this, you got to be sure that you're not flopping that arm way out and you're going to end up cutting your neighbor. Okay. So that's the only thing to really, there's a warning there, only thing to be concerned about. Always heel to tip. Clear as mud. Last method. It is very important for safety reasons that you use a cutting board and you put a towel on the cutting board. I call this a British method or European method because really in this country, this was introduced to us through Food Network by the likes of Gordon Ramsay and Robert Irvine. If you ever follow Food Network, those two names might be a little bit familiar. If you watch the Welcome to Culinary School video, you got a little clip of Robert Irvine. We're not ever going to put Gordon Ramsay on here because he's going to drop the F-bomb every 3 words that he says. And so at any rate, it's almost like I'm stabbing the cutting board. That's why I need this towel here. If I don't have the towel, your hone's going to go around all over the place, and that's not safe at all. The towel gives me some safety. From here, I can angle this up just a tad so you can see this hand. This is just, it's gripping it like I'm driving a bus and I'm going to shift gears. I got to grab that gear shifter with all of my might. Okay. Be sure that you position the fat side of the hilt. Be aware of the fat side and the narrow sides, and keep the narrow side of the hilt in a position that the knife can completely rest against it. Again, for right now, so that you can keep your and judge your 20-degree angle on each side. But just like the other two methods of honing I showed you, you're going to be heel to tip, and then the reverse side, heel to tip. This is the most awkward for me. I only do it 3 times a year when I teach a class and I'm showing you these 3 different methods for honing your knife. Okay. Throughout this week, okay, I lied before. I'm going to give you 2 pieces of homework. Homework number 1, throughout the week, I want you to try all 3 of these honing methods. Okay. It is not for me to tell you which is the best. The best for you is what you end up feeling more comfortable with. That's going to be right. All 3 affect your knife exactly the same way if you execute them properly. And that is that 20-degree, keeping your knife around 20 degrees, and it is always heel to tip. If you're going away from you, heel to tip. If it's towards you, heel to tip. If it's straight up and down, heel to tip. Always the same, always 20 degrees. If you read any textbook, the proper way to hone is going to be in the 15 to 25 degree range. Some will even shorten that a little bit more and say 18 to 22 degrees. I just tell you 20 degrees. I focus on 20 degrees because your student knife kit, the narrow side of that hilt is, if you use that as your gauge, your guide, that's 20 degrees. And it is absolutely perfectly ideal for your everyday multi-purpose sharpening of your chef knife for your work in the kitchen. Now, there are specialty knives, and there are special uses of knives that will require more specialized honing and sharpening, and we don't get to that at all in Food 1 or Food 2. Either one. The work we do in both of those classes are general use. What you will do if you go culinary, I'm preparing you for 99, 98% of your career. If you want to be a butcher, you're going to learn a few additional knives and some sharpening techniques and degrees of sharpening when you take meat and seafood, because there are specialty things that we do in the butchery world we don't have time to get to in this class. Okay. Now, I am not going to show you, I decided against this, at least for now, for tonight. I am not going to show you how to use a whetstone. Here's what I want to do in that regard. For now, for the time that we have, you shouldn't need a whetstone if you are honing your knife 8 to 10, maybe 12 passes. Remember, one side and the other side counts as one pass. Don't do 1, 2, 3 on one side and then 1, 2, 3 on the other side. Be in the habit of top, bottom. There's 1. Top, bottom, there's 2, right? If you do that 8, 10, really maybe no more than 12 of those passes, every time you're gonna prepare dinner, you don't have to do that every time you're going to cut. So I need to hone my knife when I cut the onion. Then I need to hone my knife again when I'm gonna cut a carrot. Then I need to hone my knife again whenever I cut celery. If you need to do that, then we need to talk about whetstones and sharpening your knife. You won't get there. You shouldn't need to do that in the remaining really 7 weeks that we have left. Do y'all realize that? 7 weeks. After tonight, after this week, we only have 7 weeks. After this week, we only have 6 weeks of cutting. This is going to go fast. The very, very last week, we have a practical exam and a written exam. I'll talk about that later. But this is quick, quick, quick. So as long as you are honing every time you're going to use your knife. So I'm going to hone for breakfast. I'm going to make some Spanish omelet, and I'm going to cut some tomatoes and onions and garlic, and I'm going to cut some mushrooms, and I'm going to hone the knife 8 to 12 times before I make breakfast. Then I'm going to hone the knife again 8, 12 times before I make lunch, if I'm going to cut anything for lunch, or before I make dinner, every time you use your knife. So from now till the end of the semester, every time you use your knife, and not to get in the healthy food and nutrition world, hopefully, I'll say this for economy, if nothing else, the cost of supplies and materials and food, I hope y'all are cooking at home more than you're opening up a can or a box or going through the drive-through. I hope you're cooking at home. If you're cooking at home, listen to Chef. Chef is wise. I'm going to put this back up on me now a little bit. Listen, listen, listen. This week, I want you to practice honing. But this week, if you've already opened up this week's lab, I'm going to show you the last thing, how to properly hold and guide your knife and execute a cut. And all you're doing this week is rough chopping some stuff. We're not getting into dimensions or sizes or anything. I want you to get the feel of holding the knife properly and the dynamics of executing a cut properly. Begin.
Chef.
Yes, please, Jennifer.
Okay, so I've got at a later date, I want to tell you about my weekend, but I had to work at the Alotian. I worked my first 13-hour day, and then 2 almost 10-hour days to help them with the golf tournament. But I was not on the kitchen line, but helping with all the prep, helping with salads, helping with plating. Incredible experience. But I realized that I have been starting back with my cut instead of rocking forward. And so, and I told you last week, I've been holding my knife wrong this entire time for 1.5 years of culinary school. I've been holding just the handle and not touching the blade. Anyway,
we're about to cover that right now.
Yeah. So, okay, well, good. Well, that's what I was going to say is that even the motion for me was off. The chef this weekend worked with me on that, but would love to see you do it.
We, the hardest thing to do in this class in Food 1, I think it's even harder than executing all the little angles and the dimensions, and we will get very, very specific in certain angles to cut and really teeny tiny. You're going to cut nice, perfect little cubes that'll be a 1/16 of an inch. You'll get there. Okay. But in order to get there and to do it effectively, we might have to break some bad habits.
Yeah.
You
Well,
might
so
have some habits.
For example, I've always struggled with cutting a tomato because, one side would be thicker and then the bottom would be, cut off or, certainly not symmetrical.
We're going to cover that throughout the semester.
Okay.
We're going to cover that exactly tonight. And there's going to be things that I'll show you, things that I do show you in the recorded videos, but there's going to be stuff that we do here in this Zoom, just like tonight, things I'm going to show you and describe what I'm seeing so you can try to see what I see. And before I forget, next week, as much as it's possible, bring your chef knife along with you and bring something to chop on.
Okay.
If you got a carrot in your fridge, if you got one little piece, a rib, you know the difference between a rib of celery and a stalk of celery. Stalk is the whole bunch. Rib is one piece. They'll pull out a rib of celery, bring a potato, bring an onion, something. I'm going to have some stuff to show you some specific cuts, but we'll do a little bit of cutting all together, just as if we were at CAMI in a live class. Next week will be actually the very first experiment of doing this. And I'll tell you, this is exciting. The four of you, when we do this next week, live cutting, and I can evaluate your cutting in higher education, in a culinary school, even with COVID, this will be the first time next week this will ever have been done in this way anywhere on the planet. Anywhere. Even Escoffier Online Culinary School does not do live, synchronous, online, any culinary or pastry instruction, none. And so y'all are guinea pigs. I hope you're okay with
Pretty
it.
awesome. Yeah.
If you're not okay with it, seriously, because this is recorded, send me an email and I can turn off the recording. Or if you're okay with me recording, but you don't want your name mentioned, actually by law, I can't mention your name in anything that I'm writing anyway. So you all will remain anonymous. You will be the class. If I cover anything that we're doing, if I mention it in my dissertation. Okay, that was a rabbit hole. Let me move this camera down so you can see you can see this again. First,
Yeah. Aren't we supposed to have something like this already done and uploaded by Sunday?
so you are supposed to have this week's lab this week, week 3. This is the first lab
Yeah.
for you. I think you have a celery, a carrot, and an onion, maybe celery and carrot. This week is called rough chopping. You're going to cut some stuff and you're going to upload the stuff that you cut.
Okay.
I don't remember if I had you do
It just says on here, whatever you have on hand at home, either a potato, sweet potato, carrot, or cucumber.
Aren't we supposed to pick up food though at,
you pick up food. I think those directions I might have inadvertently copied from last semester, or maybe.
Yeah, because this doesn't say anything about picking up. It says whatever you have on hand at home.
You should have gotten an email. You should have gotten an email about maybe 2 or 3 days before the semester started, before we started class. I inundated everybody with several emails. So
Okay, I need to go back and read that email because I thought I read all the emails. Okay.
Yeah, you said last week, right, that we were going to
Yes.
pick up this week.
You're picking up this week for the next 2 weeks.
Is that tomorrow that we can pick up?
You can pick up tomorrow. In fact, they prepared it early, so
Okay.
I didn't let you know. My apologies. I've been buried. It's not an excuse. Y'all will give me the same excuse from time to time. So just to let you know, I'm pretty understanding of those things because I'm in the same boat you are.
Okay.
Every 2 weeks, this week is one of those. Every 2 weeks, you'll just go by the culinary school and you'll pick up product. Now,
Okay.
I ask you to remember that it is summer. And unfortunately, those of you that know that remember Taylor, she no longer works at culinary school. She left. We don't have a director right now that's being interviewed. I won't get into anybody's personal business, but Miss Renee had a very simple, she had a surgery last week. And so she's out until Thursday, I think.
Okay.
Those of you that know Jennifer Dancer down in Product ID, downstairs, the big kitchen where all of the refrigerators and all the stuff is. So she's the only one in the building, except maybe another culinary instructor. So those of you that have done baking and pastry, I think Kathy is going to be helping out in the culinary school tomorrow. Adrian Rogers is helping out on Wednesday, I think. Today was our interim dean, the dean of the whole College of Technical and Professional Studies. Everybody's kind of doing their day to help out. So when you go to the school, you may have to walk around and may take you a minute to find, it's going to take you longer to find Jen than it will be to actually get your product. But she doesn't have it already bagged, but she has it on a Food One cart. And there's a list of supplies. And you'll just bag up your own supplies from off of that cart. And it's going to say, so this week is week 3. You pick up food week 3, week 5, week 7, and week 9. You'll pick up ingredients. Next week, there won't be anything to pick up. You missed it.
So Chef, last 2 weeks ago when I picked up for Food 2, she had it in that very first cooler when you walk in that product ID room, just FYI.
So that was that was week 3.
Week 3, which we're in right now. Today is the beginning of week 3. Week 5,
Okay.
week 7,
Mm-hmm.
and week 9.
Okay, that's what we're picking up. Okay.
Yes.
And then that's it.
And that's it. Now, for you guys, for this class, if you happen to miss a pickup, I'll tell you already, the only thing that you'll be doing in this class for grade, with the exception of week 9, is cutting onions and garlic and potatoes and carrots. And really starting next week, I'm going to be telling y'all, regardless of the product that you pick up, it's not going to be enough for you to practice. And hopefully you're cooking at home. And so I'm going to tell you, go to Walmart's, go to Kroger's, go to Harps, buy you a 10-pound bag of onions and cut them until you cry, and then keep cutting them until you don't cry anymore, and go pick up more onions and pick up a 20-ton truckload of potatoes and figure out now, okay, I can blanch and freeze these diced potatoes. I can blanch and freeze these sticks that we're going to make for French fries. Don't waste anything, but you're going to cut a lot.
Okay.
Starting about week 5 or 6, so the latter half of the summer, the latter half of this class, I also give you recipes and the product to make a curry, We are going to make French fries, so you're going to pick up some oil, and I teach you a certain way to fry French fries right, so they're crispy all the time, and blah blah blah. On French Fry Day, you get a bunch of cold cut stuff, fixings to make a couple of sandwiches. I'm sorry, it's not enough to feed your whole family, especially a larger family. You might be getting enough product for a date. So send the kiddos away and have a if you don't have a spouse or a significant other, hey, you know, food does the trick. You can use this product and invite somebody over. You have to provide your own wine, and that's all I'm going to say about that. Okay, that's what this is going to look like.
What time can we pick up tomorrow?
So the suggested is sometime between about 10 and 3. Jen should be in the building or very close to the building. Because she's the only one, she has to go across the parking lot to pick up mail and stuff like that. So she should be in the building or close by pretty quick, kind of guaranteed during those hours.
Well, and she gets her email on her phone as well. So if you can't find her, you could email her, and she's very quick to respond.
Yeah.
Okay. I
Her
have
phone
another
number
question.
on the back door from the loading dock, on the back door of the whole culinary school, that building, you'll see Jen's phone number. You'll see too. Y'all, please leave her alone.
What's Jen's last name?
Dancer, Danser.
Got it.
Jen, Jen, Jennifer.
Jennifer Dancer. Okay.
Sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
I wanted to know about, I think we was talking about it earlier, but the one where you said cut up either onions, potatoes, or sweet potatoes or carrots or something like that. It had a part A and part B, and you said print this page out. Now, what exactly do we have to do with that? Do we take a picture with the page that we print out, or do we just take a picture in our chef uniform with our diced cuts? Because you said 2 pictures.
Yeah, so pay really close attention to what those 2 pictures are. One of those is going to be, so there's kind of a sheet. And on that sheet that you print out, as we go, there'll be silhouettes of your cuts. Those silhouettes help you with size and angles, and you may execute a cut, but you got to go back to the drawing board and kind of do it again. That's that sheet. Snap a picture of it with your phone. Boom. All of this is intended for you to be able to do just from your cell phone, with no special filters, no special apps, no nothing. Occasionally, I'm going to ask you to shoot some video. When we get closer to that, I'll take a little bit of time in this Zoom and kind of show you what to do. Okay. Let me show you how to hold the knife and how to make a cut. And I'll show you one more thing with a picture. Once you've taken a picture, how you're going to upload it, how you're going to get it into the assignment. Okay. So I know we're going over just a little bit, but if you're okay for about, I don't know, 5 or 8 more minutes, then we can get all this accomplished. Okay. Taryn, did you have another question, or is that going to answer it if I show you how to upload and all of that?
I'm sorry, my children talking to me now, but
That's all
I think
right.
you showed me how to upload it, because I'm still confused, because I think, this is my second time taking this class. And last semester I was kind of confused with the same thing.
I'm going to show you for the benefit of everybody.
Yeah.
I'm going to show you exactly what and how to do. It is super simple, and it'll be super simple, especially right when you see it.
Okay.
I think you're going to get it. No problems at all. Okay, so just stand by. holding the knife. Your grip is called the pinch. That's how you grip the knife. Okay? We have a handle, we have rivets, we have a spine, we have the point or the tip, we have the blade, we have the heel, we have the bolster, kind of the break between the blade and the handle. Now, some of you, I call pointers. You put your index finger on the spine of the blade. If this is how you're accustomed to cutting, you're wrong. You don't have as much control of the knife and controlling the angle. And the way I remind you of not to do this is the pointer, and I hope your mama or your daddy or both taught you when you were little, it is rude to point. Okay? Sorry, a story. My son, when he was little, he's 27 now and grown up and gone and a successful accountant. He would point at people in the store with his not really good pointer finger. Daddy, what's wrong with that kid over there? Daddy, why do they look like that over there? Daddy, what's happening over there? Son, not only is it rude to point, but it's even more rude to point with that finger. Listen, it's rude to point. Just remember it's rude to point, okay? If you hold the knife and you tend to cut with your thumb on top, that is even less control than being a pointer. This is not okay. This is not okay. That should kind of be a given. You're not Mike Myers. This is not, what was that, Friday the 13th, or Taryn just got what I said just now. No, you're not Freddy. You're not any of those people. This is not a slasher movie. This is not Star Wars where you play your lightsabers against all the other people, okay? I need you to pinch the blade. So the grip is index finger on one side, just in front of the bolster, okay? Or the hilt, if this were a sword, okay? The bolster. Some knives have a little groove and that makes it nice and easy. Others don't. Your finger, your thumb on the other side needs to physically touch the metal, touches the blade. Contrary to common mythology.
Hold on just a second. Sorry. The blade is in like the bottom?
The blade is right here. So I can feel the metal of the blade with my finger and can feel my finger and I can feel my thumb. So I'm pinching the blade all the way, I'm pinching the heel all the way down at the blade. Just ahead of it, where the sharp part is. Does that make sense? These three fingers just wrap around for support. Loosely, comfortably. This is the grip. So, Sandra, bring your index finger forward just a little bit, not down, forward. Don't pinch the bolster, be just ahead of the bolster. Pinch the blade. There you go. Yeah. And your thumb is on the other side of that. See, here's the thing. There's been some mythology that says your right hand doesn't know what your left hand's doing. You heard that? That's false. Your right hand, yes. What Sand's doing right there. Yes, that's pretty good. Your right hand and your left hand know where each other are. If I feel the blade or I'm near the blade, I certainly feel the whole blade, maybe not exactly the sharp part. When I'm working, my left hand knows where the knife is because my left hand knows where my right hand is. If I hold the knife back here, if I hold the knife like this, if I hold the knife like this, I'm just touching the handle. I'm not physically connected to the blade. My left hand doesn't know where the blade is. That's where injuries happen. That make sense? Pig.
That's pretty incredible knowledge, I have to say.
It makes sense, but it's awkward.
It's going to be awkward. Okay. I'm going to tell you something else right now that's even more awkward. And then I'm going to give you some homework, which is going to be even more awkward still. And you need to keep doing this homework every day until it's not awkward anymore. And I don't know how many of y'all have kids at home. I know Jennifer has kids at home. Your kids are going to laugh at you. Okay. When you do this. And I don't know how you feel about doing this around your kids. That's up to you as a mommy and safety at home and all such as that. You are going to guide the knife with a bear claw. I want to see everybody just hold your hand up. Are you right-handed? Is everybody right-handed? Okay. Yes, except Jennifer. So Jennifer, hold your right hand up. Everybody else hold your left hand up in a bear claw. Okay. Now with this bear claw, bring your fingers in just a little bit. Okay. When you hold food, you're going to hold food like this. Those of you that have longer fingernails, if you have acrylic nails, lose them. That's restaurant safety 101. If you got nail polish, you're going to have to lose the nail polish. Okay. It's even recommended if you've got long nails, kind of cut them down a little bit because you want to touch the food with your fingertips, not just claw it with your fingernails. Okay. But you're going to hold and support food like this. And it's your great finger, long finger, disgruntled highway communication finger that sticks out further than all the other fingers. Your knife physically touches this finger right here. It's actually right on this knuckle or just below this knuckle on the flat face. You're going to touch the knife to your skin. Every time you're cutting using your guide. It's a guide hand. This hand tells the knife where to go. So you have to get used to this, touching this all the time. So look at here what I'm doing, okay? This is a dumb little exercise. This is your homework. Now here's your homework. 30 minutes. So during the news, during a sitcom, commercials included, stand up. We don't work sitting down in a kitchen. Stand up. And y'all gonna say, Chef lost it. I want you to watch TV while you do this. At first, the TV is gonna be in the background and you don't wanna cut yourself. And so you're gonna be looking down and paying attention to the knife rubbing against your finger. I want you to do this 30 minutes a day until you can watch TV, focus on the television and what's going on the television while you continue to do this without overtly paying attention to what you're doing against your finger. Does that make sense? When you get to that point, you will have reached a whole new level of ability and capacity to do some really, really fine cuts. We have to be able to do this comfortably, confidently, before we can get to some real precision cutting that's coming in like 3 weeks. And so really, I'd like you to do this. So you have 2 bits of homework besides our normal key terms and stuff like that. You were shown 3 methods for honing the knife. Practice all 3 until you feel more comfortable with one of the 3. Then that's your method. And I want you to do the old finger rub. Pinch, curl your fingers under, and right against your great finger, just rub away. Got it? Thumbs up? Good. So for the benefit of Taryn and anybody else that wants to see this, again, this is recorded. So if you feel you need to go, y'all go. If not, I'm going to come back up here. I'm going to share my screen with you. And I already have, I've got Blackboard open. All right, do you see this? So for the purpose of this, let's assume I already have just a picture prepared. I just pulled this picture down from the interwebs. For argument's sake, I have done an assignment and I have photographed the assignment. Okay, are we all good up to that point? You know, for this week, you've got a lab A and a lab B. Lab A is going to be just a cut. And I want to see kind of a close-up of those cuts. And then lab B, if I got these right, I'm doing this off the top of my head. Lab B is going to be kind of you holding up or presenting those cuts, and you're in uniform. So I've taken my pictures. I'm coming into the assignment. So I'm going to open up Blackboard. I'm going to open up course content. I'm going to come scroll down to here, week 3. And I'm going to click on the lab. And here's the lab assignment for the online class. And I'm ready to upload my pictures. So picture A is probably, I think it's going to say in here, I'm going to print out this form. And this form is going to have a cut or 2 or something on it. Just follow the directions on that form. Okay. I've snapped a picture of it. I've moved the picture from my cell phone to my desktop. You're going to need to do that. The Blackboard app is great for you to do some things from your cell phone, check your grades, look at assignments, but it's not always very friendly for you to use your phone to upload assignments. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So doing it from your tablet, doing it from a laptop works really a whole lot better. I've taken the picture, I've moved the picture from my cell phone to the desktop. I'm using a laptop. Straight to that point. Yes, good. I'm going to open up the assignment. Tells me when it's due, kind of a reminder. Tells me how many points are possible. Okay. Now, some of your assignments, you may just write up a little text thing right inside this text submission. Okay. Some of you've done that. I really don't like that. You can't upload pictures that way. You're going to go to this dotted box where it says attach files. You're going to browse your computer. and I'm going to pull a picture. You can see I have way too much stuff going on. I'm on my desktop, and I have a picture called Mirepoix. And so I find the picture, it says Mirepoix, and I can click and open or just double click that. And it shows me this Mirepoix JPEG file is sitting here ready to attach. All I have to do now is hit submit. Now, listen, if it is a large file, we're gonna have a few that are more or less large files because a few times I'm gonna ask you to upload video. I'm gonna want to give you some feedback on your cutting method, your cutting technique, how you're moving your arms and your hands and your knife. And the only way that I can evaluate that is with a little video. Again, something that you just take from the camera setting of your cell phone, and then you move it from your cell phone to your desktop. If you have an iPhone, there's a certain way to do it. If you have an Android, there's I have Samsung, and it's easy. I just plug my phone up into the desktop, and it's almost like an external hard drive. I pull the files over to my desktop, boom, there it is. Okay. Once I click submit, it uploads. If it's a larger file, like a video file, it's going to sit here and do nothing. And you're going to think that Blackboard is broke. Be patient. Some video files are going to take 2 or 3 minutes to finally upload. So give it some time. Don't think it's going to be, we're used to things happening really quick and fast and immediate. It's not going to happen really quick and fast and immediate. A little JPEG file will, you know, this is the same as uploading your key terms. It's the same process. So this is it. Super easy.
Okay.
Questions?
Well,
No. I've got another class that starts here in just a few minutes. So this will probably be tomorrow midday-ish again when this video goes up. The last thing I wanted to tell you, by request, 1 week at a time, as a week closes, the videos from that week, the lecture videos and the lab videos, are going to, so that you can have access to them all the time. Let me show you. It's in this resources folder. There's some other things in there, but I just added this weekly videos folder. So you can't see week 1 and week 2 anymore, but it's been requested that, you know, maybe you want to go back for reference for whatever you want to see the videos, go back, review as the semester goes. So last week's videos are all right here.
okay.
All those week 1 videos are there, just the videos, none of the PowerPoints, none of the assignments, just the videos are going into that resources folder. If you want to go back and review anything, they'll be up all semester long. All right.
All right.
Thank you.
Well, unless there's questions again, we'll be quicker next week. I think I said that last week though, so don't ever believe that kind of stuff that I say. Y'all have a really blessed night. Have a good week. Stay out of the heat. Go visit the swimming pool if you can. Don't forget to pick up your product. It is best to pick up tomorrow or Wednesday. And if you have problems with that, let me know. Just email me directly.
Thanks, Jeff.
Y'all have
Thanks,
a great night.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.